Oh, wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SMWS America channel. This is Tom Smith coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Um, I have a very special guest that's going to join me on the stream. We're going to do some whiskey tripping together. And before I get to that, just a couple of things. Happy summer to everyone. Right now, we have an awesome free shipping promotion going on. So if you have yet to take advantage of that, it's free shipping in the continental US on bottle one. We just released some awesome American whiskeys and also our Independence Day exclusive cask 4.393, gorgeous 15-year-old from Orkney. Lots of great stuff on the website. Still plenty of festival bottles for the taking, and all kinds of fun stuff coming down the pike. So great to have you with us. And by us, I mean Mr. Charles Grabitzky. Charles, welcome to the stream. How are you, sir?
Hi, I'm great, Tom. How are you?
I'm good. I thought about starting this off by finding a quill pen and like doing like my dearest child. It's been a fortnight since we traveled last together,
It
that kind
actually
of thing.
wasn't that long ago. I was just
It
thinking
wasn't that
about
long, no.
it. It's a
Just a
month
month
and
and a half.
a half, yeah,
Yeah,
about that. So
yeah,
um,
yeah.
it seems a
So
lot longer, though, I have to say.
I know,
It
I know.
feels
June's
longer.
been crazy, and
Yeah,
right now we're sitting in the soup here, like 100-degree weather in New York.
yeah,
Um, but
brutal up here.
Charles, you have been a society member for many years. You and I have been friends for many years,
Yeah,
and we always had these, we always had these whisperings in dark corners about, possibly uniting the clans, so to speak, and having the society and your company, Rascal and Thorn, kind of get together and perhaps go on some whiskey trips. And we finally got out of our own way after talking about it for, how long?
it was a while.
A couple years.
Yeah,
But yeah, so we're gonna kind of get into that, and that's the focus. We are tonight. It's no like featured whiskeys or anything, but I do hope that you all who are joining us have a dram in hand and are having a relaxing either late or early evening, depending on where you are. Charles and I both have drams. We have not told each other what they are. Um, but I can tell you, my dram is from a trip. I had no idea what I was going to try. We'll get to that later. But let's just shout out to a few folks who have joined us. Wes was the first one at 3:30 in the afternoon Eastern time to write buttershot, buttershot, dot, dot, dot. So we'll get
uh,
to that too.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
get to that.
We'll think about that one for a little
all
bit.
will all will be revealed in this wonderful world of whiskey tourism.
Yeah.
But Wes, great to have you. Dram session, welcome. Head full of rhythm, Carl, Jeff, and
Oh,
William. Um, welcome
yeah.
everyone. Great to
Sweet.
have you. Hopefully, a few more will join, and if you're not here with us on the date, you'll be able to check this out at a later date.
I see.
Um,
Bill is on. He was on my Japan trip earlier this year, so that's pretty cool.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah, awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Carl is having a 77.70,
All
which
right.
was a tasting panel experience from, I want to say 2022 called, uh, what was it, Gusto and Gumption? Grace and Gumption. Grace and Gumption. It's a Glenord, excuse me, a 77 in I want to say second fill Sauterne Barrique. Awesome whiskey there. Um, all right. And Dram Session was on the inaugural tour last October. Is
Yeah.
that Kent? Is that
Yeah.
Kent? Yeah, right. Kent, our resident musician,
Yeah.
among other things. Kent, great to have you here. So we'll just jump right into it. Charles and I finally got out of our own way, and I should say I got out of my own way. I shouldn't drag you. I shouldn't drag you into my lethargy and discombobulation there.
Yeah.
But we finally sorted it all out and created a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society in America tasting tour. And we started that last October of 2024. And we visited the Space side. It was an awesome time.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing for me, Charles, is that I just have to worry about a dinner or two in Edinburgh, and then I sit back and I get to be a tourist like everyone else.
Yeah. Lucky
And
you.
you just take it away. It's amazing. So
Yeah. No,
let's talk about you and Rascal and Thorn,
Sure.
your whiskey journey, and how it led you to the last decade of whiskey tourism.
Yeah, no problem. Do we want to share our drams first? What you're drinking, what I'm drinking?
Sure.
So I can start sipping mine. You want me to share mine first?
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So on our last trip, this wasn't our inaugural trip, but on our last trip, which was just a month and a half ago, we ended the trip at Bunnahabhain, which was a fantastic experience with Mr. David Brody, as always. In the warehouse, tasting out of some beautiful bottlings. There you go. And I am actually drinking a different one, Tom. I'm doing it's the Rioja cask.
Nice.
Which was part of our tasting panel.
Nice.
And yeah, so cheers, everyone. Slanjava. That's what I'm sipping on to start.
That's great. And just for those of you who might be passing through Brooklyn, come see me. I have those 3 casks from our tasting at Warehouse 9. Only for people who come visit me in Brooklyn. So they are waiting for you until they run out.
Nice.
So I now have probably about 20 different bottles from 2 different trips with you. So you are officially a bad habit for me, Charles. I'm stashing these bottles in like pots and pans, like hoping my wife doesn't find them. It's crazy. But so here I am, like the last couple of days, knowing we were going to do this stream together. What am I going to sip? Like, is it a distillery that we carry, a distillery that we don't carry? Was waffling back and forth until today. I was in the car and sick of the radio, didn't want to listen to any music. I'm like, I'm going to turn on a podcast. So I turned on our brothers in line arms, so to speak, over at Single Cast Nation.
Nice.
Joshua and Jess had just published just today, actually, a podcast interviewing at the Highlander Inn, Tatsuya Minagawa.
Nice.
And I started listening to it, and actually, thanks to New York City traffic, I listened to the entire podcast, and I was just like, "That's what I'm going to bring." So when we were there at the Highlander Inn, I purchased this bottle, which is a blended whiskey. Yeah, Oishi, not to be mistaken by Oishi, the distillery. This is Oishi is Japanese for delicious or tasty. And so this was a special bottling just for the Highlander Inn. You see the 3 representatives of the United States, Japan, and Taiwan there, where the 3 Highlander Inns are. And this is a 43-year-old. Now, we did have a lot of both whiskey and iron brew while we were at the Highlander Inn. Remember, Fraser gave us that tasting.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this. The 43 years is a grain whiskey,
right.
But there is, he did tell me there was some older Macallan in there. So
nice.
Older than 43 years old. So anyway, that's what I'm drinking. It's 46.9%.
Nice.
And it is absolutely delicious. It's really round and just gorgeous, easygoing, exactly what I want to try. Now, I did buy this bottle for my wife and then decided it was better with me. So,
she never watches these things. So
that's the kind of husband I am, for me. But anyway, this is killer. So Slanjava, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I have some backups here if I tire of my 40-year-old blended whiskey from Isla. But anyway, so
all right,
Charles, take it away. Talk to us.
All right. So just a little background on me and how I got here. I was just like everybody else, learning to love whiskey over many years. And I had a regular job, schlepping, traveling all across the country, doing healthcare stuff. and my passion for whiskey started to grow. And I had always had travel in my background. My mother's a travel agent. She's been a travel agent her whole life. I've lived abroad. I've been actually in many, many different countries. I'm very comfortable traveling and just being pretty much anywhere around the world. And so I've always had this passion to kind of get back into travel as a business. And instead of just doing domestic hospitals and clinics that I was doing for many years. So back in 2014, there's a whiskey bar here in Saratoga Springs, which is where I'm from, or where I live. I'm from San Francisco, but really great whiskey bar here called Nine Maple. And I got to know the owner there. And I said, hey, Mike, do you mind if I launch a trip to Scotland using your bar as the catalyst? Because there were a lot of whiskey fans that would come to the bar. And he was like, sure, yeah, let's do it. So back in 2014, I launched my first trip. It wasn't called Rascal Thorn at the time. This is pre Rascal Thorn name, but it was in 2015. So my first trip to Scotland really went all over the place with that group, small group, and came back and was just so pumped and was like, oh my God, this is it. I've got to figure out how to make this the real deal. And that's actually when I joined the society, was right when I came back from that trip. I started also a whiskey club up here in New York, and that we were ordering society bottles, pretty early on. And
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of hosting your
and
group
you did.
a couple of different times. I've come up to Saratoga,
which was really a blast.
Yeah.
So the company now is 10 years old. I did join forces with a food specialist connoisseur who's very well connected with restaurants all around the world. And so we run this gastronomic tourism company called Rascal Thorn. And I do the whiskey focus. He focuses on food. Holly, my business partner, who owns the shop that's behind me with me, she is also a part now of Rascal Thorn, leading her own whiskey trips as well and collaborating on trips together. So we're actually doing 3 trips this fall together, which is pretty rare that the both of us get to go at the same time.
Nice.
So to date, it's been 28 whiskey tours in the books.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy. About half of those are in Scotland. I've done 5 whiskey tours now to Japan. I've done a couple to Ireland and quite a few to Kentucky as well. About, I think, nine to Kentucky at this point. But these are all groups of anywhere from 6 to 12 people. Occasionally, people will hire us privately as well. So some of those trips have been private trips where, there was a group of people that had a specific itinerary in mind. And the thing is, with Rascal Thorn, we lead our trips. We're not just setting up things for people to go and then do it on their own. We're actually taking people. We're leading these groups.
Right.
Most of our groups are public trips, where people sign up, and they could be from all over the U.S. We have had some international people sign up for our trips as well. Our focus is whiskey. So this year we've already done 4 tours to Scotland, which is pretty crazy, being it's only June. We have 1 more coming up this fall to Scotland that we'll talk about here in a sec. So we're grooving and moving with the shop and the trips that we do, and it's really just a passion, visiting these distilleries. I've been to about 60. I've toured about 60 distilleries in Scotland now, like full tour, not just into the gift shop or anything like that. And a lot of these have been multiple times as well. So visiting these distilleries for me just is what it's all about. You're learning what makes these whiskeys different. It's not just the cask. I mean, everybody talks about the cask, and the cask is a huge part, but the other 50% or whatever percent you want to call it is coming from the distillate and what makes that distillate. And the only way to truly know that is by visiting these places and seeing the shape of the still, seeing where they're located, seeing where the water's coming from, the way they condense everything. All of this matters. And to me, it's just a lot of fun. I love going back to these places and developing the relationships that I have over the years. And, like just our last trip to Isla and our trip in October to the Speyside just reinforced how much I loved going back to a lot of these places. And
to your point about leading the group, I mean, I've been around a lot of whiskey people, and I'm always learning. I'm still, we're all still learning. But I have to say, dude, your knowledge base is encyclopedic, to put it lightly. Like, it's crazy. Like the number of whiskeys that you have tasted and can recall, and the specs on different distilleries that you can just like come up with. It's amazing. So it's really, really cool to have somebody like you and like Holly, who are equally passionate, but also extremely well informed and can really answer any of the questions, be they basic or the 10th level of nerdery or whatever. So it's very, very cool to be a part of.
And I mean, the whiskey knowledge is part of it, but then you also have all of the logistical part of it, which is really challenging a lot of times, especially for groups. You've got to have timing right. You've got to have things set up so that people are comfortable. And, so there's just a lot of other things that go into this besides just knowing how much we love the whiskey. Which obviously comes through as well. But it's just fun. We love it. We're already planning so much for the future. So we're just kind of getting started in a way. So it's really
that's true.
Yeah.
Couple of chats I want to share here. So Jonathan, our malt Sherpa, is drinking a gorgeous bottle of Bunnahabhain, 10.272.
Oh, nice.
A Retstering home, very nice. And he bought at the vault. So Jonathan was with us in Isla, along with Wes, and great guys. Jonathan, I hope you passed that course. I know you were cramming towards the end. I hope you got your accreditation. And then M. William is enjoying To the Land of Dancing Horses, a beautiful Blair apple, well sherried for everyone's enjoyment. And unsolicited praise, Rascal Thorn is definitely a worthwhile organization to tour with. Loved the Isla trip in May. Butter shots aside. So
at some point we'll have to talk about that. But
we'll get to all these things. Yeah.
So
sure.
I'm going to pour my second dram because before we get into the special announcement that we're going to make later, I do want to talk a little bit about our next tour, which is coming up in October. We've done 2 now with the Society, and they've both been absolutely fantastic. Very different from each other. Obviously, Speyside and Isla are like 2 different worlds. Both equally wonderful, but very different from each other. But I am now going to pour myself a dram of 27.113.
Whoa.
What a song and dance.
Nice. Bringing it to the wee tune.
The wee tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got a little bit of song and dance here.
Do I have any 27s? I don't think I do. No, I don't have any left. I've drunk them all. It's okay. Oh, you know what I can grab, though? Oh, I can grab this. A neighbor. 93. It's like dueling banjos here, although this really isn't much of a duel. 93.140. This was our first ever tasting panel experience bottle that we released. 17 years old.
Nice.
Oily and coastal.
I remember that one.
Yeah. I could pour some of that.
All right. So the reason why we're pouring these next drams, we still have 3 spots out of 12 of us in October. To be specific, it's October 11th through the 19th, where we're doing a really, really wonderful trip, starting and ending in Edinburgh again with the Society, doing some special stuff for us, both in Queen Street and in the Vaults in Leith. And we are going to be heading up to Inverness for a couple of nights and doing some really wonderful stuff up north with Balblair and Dornoch. We're going to pop into Glenmorangie, do some fun stuff in that area. And then we're going to start making our way south along Loch Ness. We're actually going to be staying at a really nice place, the Glenfinnan House. I don't know if some of you have heard of it. It's basically this chateau castle in the middle of one of the most beautiful parts of Western Scotland. We're there for a couple of nights where we're going to do a really special day with Ardnamurchan. And then we're going to head south and end up in Campbelltown, where we're going to obviously have some really great time with Springbank, Glen Scotia, Glengyle, Cadenheads, you name it. It's going to be a blowout once we get back down there. And not to end it there, but on our way back to Edinburgh, we're also going to stop by and do a special visit with Rosebank, the newly renovated and beautiful Rosebank, which I did get to visit for the first time this year. And I have to say, it's pretty spectacular. So
you spoil us, Charles.
I know how can you go wrong with a trip like that? It's a beautiful loop that we're going to do. There are 3 spots left. I know Tom just shared the URL.
Check that out.
So check that out. But yeah, three more spots on that. But cheers, everybody. Hope you.
Cheers. Yeah.
This is too good.
Will we be swinging by Ben Nevis as well? I forget.
Oh yeah, we're going to do Ben Nevis. So that'll be part of it. Yeah, there's quite a few things I did mention. Yeah, that's kind of how we run these things too. We want to give you kind of the big pieces, but then we fill it in with a lot of really cool other stuff. You know that. We're, whether it's cultural things or whether it's food, we're really trying to fill it in with some special treats. Whether it's a castle here or there, or maybe a distillery that's not on the itinerary. So Ben Nevis, though, for sure is on the itinerary. Gotta love Ben Nevis. Such a popular distillery for so many.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How's your 27?
This is pretty phenomenal. This bottle's going to be done tonight. I was saving it for a real time to use it, and this is it. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now, is that from the Springbank tasting that we did together? Like, God, when was that?
Years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Was that pre-COVID? No, it was
that was after
newly. It was newly COVID. Yeah.
It was probably 22. Yeah,
Okay.
So 3 years ago, maybe.
Oh, 3 years.
Early 22. That was a Zoom tasting we did with the Saratoga Whiskey Club. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we kicked it off in the Space side. We did. What did we say? It was 14 distilleries in 8 days.
Yeah, that was a pretty full trip.
The Space Side Death March.
We started with a special visit at Aberfeldy on our way up that Holly had set up for us, which was really fantastic.
Well, we actually started with a couple of Edinburgh.
Oh yeah, well, that's right. We
on
did
Sunday. We did Port of Leith and Holyrood. Yeah. And then of course we start all of our tours with a tasting and dinner at either the Vaults or Queen Street or both. We'll typically bookend it. So this time, what did we do? I guess in October we kicked it off with Charlie McLean on Saturday, and then on Sunday we had Pip Hills, the founder, join us for dinner, and then we finished at the Vaults with Arthur Motley. And a wonderful kind of hands-on type tasting of artifacts and tremendous Royal Mile whiskey. But in between, he's really, those guys. Just a merciless plug for another stream, but the Liquid Antiquarian, they are back at it. Arthur and
Yeah.
Dave Broom have just started publishing new episodes. So if you guys are into the geekiness, I implore you to go check out the Liquid Antiquarian. Not right this moment, but when you're done with us. And they just posted their distillation part 2, the history of distillation, part 2 to I think a few days ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Arthur was kind enough to join us and do a wonderful reverse engineered history of whiskey from present day back to the basically the 18th century. It was astounding, and so it was a lovely time, and betwixt and between these Edinburgh visits, we get the sweet stylings of Charles and Holly, and yeah, Aberfeldy was the start, and where else did we go?
Well, we did the Cairn. We had that dinner experience at the Cairn, which was pretty wild. I remember you ordered that 70-year-old blend that they had there.
Yes, I ordered 2 drams of the 70-year-old blend, and I put 1 dram at each table. Everyone passed it around like it was communion at church, and everybody got to taste a 70-year-old dram.
Yeah. They remembered that when I was there earlier this year. They're like, "Oh yeah,
I was the first sale in their cafe of that 70-year-old. I was the first chump, I guess, to actually spend money on it.
No, they were very.
That was awesome. It was delicious.
Very considerate.
And the Cairn, oh my goodness, right in the Cairngorms National Park. That's wild because the distillery itself looks like a spaceship.
Yeah.
And it's in the middle of all this beautiful, beautiful nature.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so that was great. Yeah, no, we did a lot that trip. We did Grabitzky, which you can't get into. We did Bort Malt, the big malting facility, which I mean that even for Rascal and Thorn, that's like a once in a lifetime kind of thing. I don't know if we're going to be able to go back there. I mean, we'll have to wait at least another couple of years before we ask for that permission again. That was pretty crazy. You don't get to see the largest malting kiln in the world. That's pretty long. So, we did a really great Speyburn visit. So many. I mean, Strathyla, we did that blending class. It just the hits kept coming on that one. That was a really fun trip. It was packed. It was packed. I have to say, it was
packed. We had a couple of fellows who will remain nameless, who were just like, do we get to do other things? It's like, no, you are here for whiskey. And by the third time I told him that, he wasn't too happy with me. But that was an intense trip for sure. But I guess maybe was our Isla trip less? Maybe it was less like, I guess, you only have 9-10 distilleries.
Well, one of the things that we did differently, which I think we're going to do more going forward as well, is instead of doing 3 nights in Edinburgh or Glasgow or whatever we pick to be the city that we start and end in, we'll maybe leave it to 2, because that it seems like we'll have more time to spread things out a little bit, when we're on the road. So this next trip and Isla, they were both 1 and 1. So we did Edinburgh at the beginning and at the end, just 1 night.
Which I thought works very nicely, actually.
Yeah, I think it's great as well. And it just gives you a little bit more flexibility as well. And you're not trying to cram it all in. So on Isla, also being only so many distilleries, and having 6 days really, or 6 nights, we weren't having to wake up at the crack of dawn to make it happen. So it was a little bit more relaxed, I have to say. And I think the drams were a little heavier as well with those warehouses. So you kind of needed that anyhow. So it worked out really well on our May trip to Isla. So, and this trip coming up in October will be a little bit more spread out as well, because it is 6 nights on the road versus just 5. So we'll have plenty, a little bit more
moving and shaking a bit, but
a little bit more distance covered, but pretty relaxing, I will have to say. So
Cool.
yeah.
Nice.
Just
So
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Let's say a few comments here. Maria is sipping on 115.21.
Is that Maria in Florida?
A
I think that,
capering Esther
yeah.
Jester.
Yeah, it's Maria Kirkering. Yeah. She's been to Japan with me as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And she has excellent taste in
Oh, for sure.
Speyside whiskey.
Yeah.
And Carl, I was introduced to the vaults back in 2019 when I went there on an excursion from a cruise. Whiskey and Bagpipes. Well, thank you, Whiskey and Bagpipes, for introducing Carl to us. And then Brian is joining us from the White Mountains in New Hampshire, which I'm sure are
Awesome.
lovely right now, and planning his first trip. Well, Brian, I think I speak for everyone when I say we envy your discovery. It is a beautiful, beautiful place full of wonderful people, and the whiskey's pretty good too.
Nice.
So yeah, feel free to reach out to us. Certainly, I'll be very happy to share with you any tips that I have, and I'll be happy to set up some stuff for you at the venues as well. So for all of you, never hesitate to reach out to us. That's what we're here for, to try and make your membership a better experience.
And feel free to reach out to me anytime you want to. You can do that via charles@rascalandthorn.com. That's my email. Or on Instagram, you see it right there on the screen at Whiskey Traveling Instagram. So either way, just reach out if you want any.
Is it rascalplusthorn.com?
No, it's Rascal and AND Thorn.com. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Nice.
So just curious, Tom, of all of our distilleries that we've visited together now, do you have one that's really kind of stood out as your favorite? I know maybe one from each trip, or is that too hard to think back on now and try and decide?
Boy, it's weird because you have these moments. There are so many little moments in a trip like this where there are several epiphanies happening in the same day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, it's tough. It's tough to really pick things out. But if I'm being quick about it, I would say on the Speyside trip, as far as tours are concerned, I was really impressed by Speyburn.
Yeah.
I was really impressed by Speyburn. I always knew that Speyburn was a bit of an underdog.
Yep.
As far as distilleries go, especially in Speyside. That's distillery number 88 for those of you following along in our catalog. And our group got split into two. And I don't know if you and I were in the same group with Alex.
No, I was on
Alex. Okay, so we got Alex, who happened to be third generation distillery manager.
Yep.
He was like, as a kid, getting yelled at by his father, who was then distillery manager. This guy Alex was retired. I mean, he's like old, and he was saying how he was caught skateboarding in the old malting barn and like yelled at and stuff. And the knowledge, the generational knowledge that he brought to the table was just so incredible and made an already impressive distillery that much more impressive. So as far as a tour is concerned, that's certainly one. And and the next day we went to Macallan.
Yeah.
And Macallan is just like over the top. And it's amazing the juxtaposition of producers in Speyside. You have those are the complete, polar opposites there.
Yeah.
But what really struck me throughout those trips were the folks we met, the locals we met who had been working there, and their families having been working at those distilleries for so long. So that's
you had mentioned Arthur Motley and David Broom, and his book, David's book, A Sense of Place. I mean, Speyburn, that book, that's Speyburn, right? I mean, you go there and you feel like you were there 100 years ago, and you're just breathing it in, and you're seeing the old machinery, and that old malting facility is unreal. It is absolutely amazing. And I got to go back this year. I was there in April, and I did have Alex on this next group or whatever. And yeah, it was great. He is that sense of place. You know,
That's right. He
he
is the
is.
sense of place.
Yeah.
And these are the old boys. You know what,
Yeah.
what Charlie or Dave would call the old boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got another old boy at Ballandalloch, which is
Yeah.
probably the smallest distillery we went to. So
Yeah.
Davey, he was another guy, and these guys have all worked at all these different distilleries that just blow your mind. But
Yeah.
they're the most humble, down to earth guys, and they're so happy to share all this information with you. That was absolutely incredible.
Yeah. No, pretty good stuff.
Now, as far as geez, I'd have to think back in October to you know what? I know. So by Wednesday, so we all got together.
I think I know what you're gonna say, but I'm not gonna.
Well, it was Saturday. I guess it was Saturday we all started. And, I'm really uptight and straight laced. So I'm not very easy to get along with. But I finally opened up. I finally opened up by day 12. No, but by Wednesday, the group had really bonded, right?
Yeah.
And we went to this dinner, to a Ben Romick dinner in Elgin, after an amazing experience at Gordon and MacPhail. We had a private shopping experience. I think we all bought the same bottle of Glenlossie, but it's cool. I still have it, actually. I almost brought that tonight. But we went to this dinner, and this poor girl from Ben Romick was trying to deliver her talking points and everything, and we were all just yucking it up with one another. From Fraser with his pheasant plucker son, to like doing different toasts, and people it was like kind of this horseshoe, and people just yelling at one another across the room. It was just one of those dinners where it's like, wow, like that dinner will always be so special in my mind.
Yeah.
Just because of the camaraderie,
There was an energy in that room that night. I mean, you could literally feel it.
That's right. You could feel it.
Crescendo of energy that was our peak energy moment for sure. Because everybody was just, right there. And
and it feeds into something that Alex at Speyburn said to us on our trip, and he was talking about how when he was a youngster just starting out, one of the old boys to him shared a dram with him, and they were both tasting it and everything, and he's like, oh, it's something to the effect of, oh, what is this? He's like, Alex, it doesn't matter what it is. He said the whiskey is only as good as the people you share it with.
That's right.
And that little saying that Alex muttered out rather, really fits to that evening.
Yeah.
At I forget the name of the restaurant. I don't care what the name of the restaurant was. I know it was the Ben Romick brand.
Sunny Hill.
There you go, Sunny Hill. Yeah. But man, what a camaraderie in that room that night. Yeah, and then, looking forward to Isla, butter shots aside. There were two tours that still are very, very much with me. One was Rick, the golf pro,
yes.
at Ardbeg. He told a story about. I'll spare everyone on the stream the full story, but he told a story about a guy on a Robbie's touring trip, kind of kept to himself, and everybody else, a bunch of whiskey geeks, and came to a certain question, and his answer actually brought me to tears.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like we're just standing in the middle of this warehouse, and his story, Rick's story, like literally brought me to the verge of tears. And it was like just so moving. And his insight as a person in the whiskey industry, who's a very big part of it. He was like the senior most person at the for tasting groups at Ardbeg and whatnot. His insights were so precise
Yeah.
And just he cut through all the bullshit, and he really got to the meat of the matter.
Mhm.
And that was really amazing. And then we went to another distillery with Mary, who created a poem for us.
Yeah.
He created a poem just for us,
Yeah.
and she recited it to us, and that was really, really special. And
Yeah.
then I was knighted,
You were nice.
so I am now Sir Buttershot.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So
Knighted with a
um,
Balich for those who didn't.
yeah, knighted with a Valinch. Yeah,
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good.
but
Yeah.
those were mine. Those were mine. How about? I mean, you said you've been to 60 distilleries in Scotland, and you've been on 28 different tours.
Yeah.
Is it fair to even ask if
No.
one experience? So let
No.
me ask you this: where do you want to go next? Where's an uncharted whiskey territory that you haven't been to yet with a Rascal Thorn tour that you'd really like to go?
Outside of the countries that we go
Yes.
to already? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely areas that I want to explore for sure. The two that are probably at the top of my list is one of them's Australia/Tasmania. Now I know that's Holly's territory, so I am definitely not going to step on toes. But if I could just go and her lead that trip, I would be a happy camper. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but the other area that I'm really interested in is India. And these are big trips. These are not
Oh
like,
yeah.
this isn't Europe. This isn't, Germany or France, or which have a lot of whiskey now too. And I am very interested in visiting them and exploring those distilleries as well. But I'm talking like, if you were to ask me if I had a choice, where could I go? It would probably be one of those two places. Now, that's not on the horizon yet. We have been looking into both. So don't be surprised if at some point there is that option. I doubt with a SMWS that might be a little bit pushing it, but maybe, you never know. But yeah, so those would be kind of in terms of places I haven't been that I would really like to go. Those would be up there. But yeah, the other one that we were talking about, which I think would be really fun. Now I know we still have to announce what we're doing next year, but we had talked about next fall of doing another trip. The plan for us right now is to do 2 a year, maybe 3 if we feel up to it. But 2 is kind of
Two is a good number
process right now. But the one that we talked about doing in the fall, I'm thinking about having other thoughts because of the discussions that we've been having recently with Chuck and some other people too about maybe we do a trip to Spain to visit the bodegas, the sherry bodegas, to learn truly the differences between all of the sherries that make the whiskeys different.
The origins of sherry. Yeah.
That would be a pretty epic whiskey, non-whiskey food trip.
Like Hamon, and
we could bring plenty of SMWS bottles with us that we could taste at different places. Maybe there are some locations in Spain that have a good, number of SMWS bottlings as well, or clubs or whatever that we could collaborate with to bring in the whiskey component. But it would be truly awesome to visit a lot of these different bodegas and understand how that really impacts the whiskey like it does. So that's a possibility. We haven't really done the homework on that completely yet, but I think that would be really fun as well. But that's not like a distillery visit trip, but it's
not. But I feel like
cool whiskey trip.
The society has always kind of done things a little differently, and I think that's definitely taking whiskey tourism in a different direction.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And there's definitely food components that would be amazing in Spain that we have a lot of connections with. So it could be a pretty epic
trip. Should explore.
Yes, we will explore that.
So should we talk about where we're going in March?
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked for 45 minutes. Yeah, we should probably do that. That would be a good.
It happens.
So I'm going to pour my last dram while we talk about this next adventure after
I'm
this year.
assuming you're pouring from where we're going to. I'm going to
Yeah.
share with you. I'm pouring from where we've been. This is a Port Charlotte
Oh, nice.
cask sample from
From the
Brew Body.
warehouse.
Yep,
Nice.
40 ppms and 65.9% ABV.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of people in the chat room, at least, I can't see who's online, but I can see the chat room, have actually been with me to this next destination. So you probably might want to go again, or maybe not. I don't know. But so what we are going to announce, it's actually going to be announced tomorrow via Tom and the email blast that they do. I guess what, 1 o'clock or something like that?
1 o'clock Eastern time. That's right.
Yeah. So so you will have access to more details tomorrow at 1 o'clock. But we are going to be doing next March 20th to 30th, to be exact, 10 days, 10 nights. The first Scotch Malt Whiskey Society U.S. chapter trip to Japan. Ben hit it out of the park there with his comment before I even said it. But yeah, so we're going to be doing. So I've done this trip will actually be my 7th tour to Japan. The SMWS one will be number 7 for me, which is incredible. When I did my first one to Japan, I absolutely fell in love with the country, and I told myself, if I don't figure out a way to come back here every year, something's wrong in my life. And unfortunately, COVID hit, and I did have to stop for 2 years. But then, yeah, so Japan, I started going back to in 2023. And every year I've been going in March, which is really a great time to go because it's springtime in Japan, and Japan is known for the cherry blossoms, and a lot of the places that we go to are in bloom at that point, which is really, really beautiful. So yes, we are launching tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The email will be going out, our first trip to Japan. And just a little kind of, I'll give you some of the highlights of the trip. And you'll get more information on our website tomorrow. Just so you know, don't confuse it with the other trip that's going to Japan. There is a trip on going to Japan. That is not the society trip. The society trip is like a whole nother level of experience, which is going to be launched tomorrow. But this trip is basically going to be 10 nights. Like I said, 2 nights in Tokyo to start, where we're going to do some pretty great things, including a really wonderful experience with the Japanese chapter of the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society. We'll probably do a dinner with them, probably a tasting as well. We're going to work on that. We don't have the details on that experience yet, but I know Tom is well connected.
Yeah, I'm in touch with Jack, who is the lead over there for the director of the Japanese chapter. So yeah, we're gonna whip up something pretty awesome.
Yeah, so that's the way we're going to start, which is pretty epic. But then why not even take it up a notch? We're going to go right to Chichibu for 2 nights. We're actually going to stay in Chichibu for 2 nights and, have the Chichibu experience, which is a pretty epic experience. Definitely one of the highlights of whiskey producing in Japan. I've been fortunate enough to visit it with them 5 times now, and I have to say every visit is just amazing, and I just look forward to it each time. It never gets old. Let me tell you that. It never gets old. It is absolutely wonderful. And then from there, we head up into the Japanese Alps for a night, where we spend the night in this incredible place that I truly believe has one of the best whiskey bars in all of Japan. It's a hidden gem. I'm not going to say too much more about that because it's one of those places that you do kind of want to keep secret because it's a place that you don't want to become spoiled with a bunch of people going there all the time. So we will be heading into the Alps for a night, which is a beautiful place. We will be visiting a couple of distilleries, including Hakushu, while we're doing that Alps experience. So we'll get the whole Suntory experience included with that. Have a night in Shizuoka, where we're going to do a really great distillery visit there, including a visit to a farm that grows wasabi plants. And we're going to actually get to pick our own wasabi and see how it's made, which is pretty cool. It's pretty hot right out of the water, but good stuff. And then we're going to head down to Kyoto for a couple nights, where it's mostly cultural kind of experiences in the Kyoto area. We have already done 4 distilleries leading up to that point. Some great whiskey bars in Kyoto as well. Some great gin that we'll be doing there as well. And then heading down to Fukuoka for our last couple of nights, which is further south in Japan, where we're going to do Mars Sanuki, Konosuke, and some other really special experiences in Fukuoka before wrapping up. So it's going to be a pretty epic 10-night trip in Japan, really hitting a lot of the highlights from the whiskey standpoint. And, what's great about whiskey and visiting distilleries in general, whether it's Scotland, Ireland, Japan, even Kentucky, these distilleries are not in the middle of these cities. They're way out in the countryside. They're usually in beautiful areas. They're places that if you were just visiting as a tourist, you probably would never get to, because why? There's just, unless you're a whiskey, fan, but really the only reason to go out to these places, because there's not a lot of other cultural highlights in some of these locations, but they're so beautiful. And it's the real Japan. It's the real Scotland. It's the real Ireland when you get out into the countryside and visit these distilleries. So that's really what I love about it. It's not just, these places that are lodged right in the middle of these big metropolis, centers. We're getting out, and whether it's via train, which we do quite a bit of in Japan. The bullet train is part of our experience, which is amazing. Drinking highballs on the bullet train with your to-go food is pretty epic. So
yes,
yeah, I can't imagine being in Japan with Tom, of all people. Oh my God, it's going to be a little crazy.
Yeah, I tend to get a little excited about things, and I start buying drinks for people. And
the term butter shot in Japan,
the day just goes sideways. Let's finish. Should we finish with a quick butter shot story?
Right. Why don't you explain the butter shot?
I should have picked up lined up some pictures or something. Well, anyway, Charles, in all of his scheduling magnificence, got us all on a boat. On a charter boat to sail basically the southern part of the southeastern shores of Islay. So we boarded in Port Ellen. We had a couple of different bottles of whiskey on board, and all this amazingly fresh seafood that they caught that day and served to us that evening. So it was, basically a bunch of seasoned with lobster and crabs and all kinds of clams and oysters and things, scallops all over the place, right? Grilled scallops, beautiful, and then butter and bread. So we all get through the first bottle of whiskey and having a great time, and now we're on the second bottle of whiskey, and I forget who mentioned it, but somebody said, "Hey Tom, you should do a butter shot."
It's probably Jonathan or something. I could see
was it Jonathan? No. Jonathan was sitting right next to me. And it was not him. It was somebody else. It was probably Chuck. It was probably Chuck.
Yeah, you know what?
Chuck. But I said I would never do. Who would do a butter shot? I'm not going to pollute this beautiful whiskey with a pat of butter. I said, unless of course somebody dares me, So then Jonathan, to my right, chimes in and he's like, "I double dog dare you." So I then proceeded to put a pat of butter in my mouth and do a shot of, God, what was it? It was the second whiskey. It wasn't the Lagavulin. It was the Lafroig.
Lafroig, yeah, it was
Lafroig PX, right? And I thought I could just swallow it, but no, I had to chew it. Anyway, I got it down. There is a video out there. I hope it's never shared. I hope it's never shared. But in any case, we give each other nicknames on these trips, and I was Buttershot until the next day when I got knighted.
Yes.
Then Sir Buttershot, my
Sir
village
Buttershot.
knighting, you know,
Yeah.
made me Sir Buttershot. So anyway, I will travel. I will do Buttershots for great whiskey. And Charles, I got to tell you, man, nothing beats boots on the ground. When you're
Yes.
trying to understand
Yes.
something, whether it's whiskey or wine or food or just culture, you know, these cultures, the culture of food and the indigenous spirits of the, or you know, indigenous beverages of the region, kind of, you know, coming up together through centuries of evolution. Nothing beats being right there.
Yeah.
You know, you can go to a some kind of restaurant in New York or Chicago or LA or whatever, but you know, being there, boots on the ground, meeting these people, it's an indelible experience. And you guys really bring that to life. And I'm there for the butter shots.
Yeah.
So
These SMWS trips wouldn't be what they are without you. You bring the energy, the hilariousness of Tom. I mean, you're hilarious, man. I mean,
I'm a bit of a joker, yeah.
you're serious, but at the same time, you are like just so fun to travel with. So,
Oh, thanks, man. You're swell
no,
too.
no,
Yeah.
it's really great. I think
But can we talk about the people? Can we talk about the members?
yes, no, I
Because
know.
like, right.
These
So
two groups
for
that we've had have been just
you,
incredible. Like,
you've done this 28 times,
yeah,
which just blows my fucking mind, like wide open.
yeah,
I've done it twice, and each time I was like very excited, obviously. But you know, you're always a little pensive, like,
oh yeah,
is everybody going to be cool? You
yeah,
know, like, you know, is there going to be some kind of tension or whatever? And these two groups, like, we couldn't have asked for a better mix of personalities, a better mix of knowledge level,
yeah,
because they're feeding off one another, you know?
yeah,
Because there are novices on these trips, which I commend, because that's a really intense trip to just kind of like leap into and go for it. And other people who are actually, you know, could probably be sitting in my chair and do just fine.
yeah.
Um, and you have all these different personalities kind of sharing this experience. It's wonderful, and I think it just speaks to the society member. You know,
Yeah.
these guys are awesome. They're really awesome, and um, I can't
Yeah,
wait for the next one.
a testament as well is on this trip coming up in October, we have 3 people coming from our previous 2 trips as well. So
Yeah,
it's great to see this continuation as well, you know, because they know how special it is, and they, you know, are obviously going to continue on with us, you know, to do it not each time, but whenever they can, which is really
right.
incredible.
Yeah,
So it's always fun to have that as well, you know, to the new people with the experienced people and everything. It works really well.
yeah.
So
Well, Charles, listen, thank you so much for joining
yeah,
me and having a chat about our whiskey tripping endeavors past, present, and future.
yeah,
And I honestly, I cannot wait for the next one, man.
yeah. October will
It
be
is
here.
the highlight of my year. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, October will be here before we know it, and then Japan right after. So
yeah.
here we go.
Awesome, awesome. So for those of you who are thinking about it, if you have any questions, reach out to me, reach out to Charles,
Yep.
and you'll be able to submit your reservations tomorrow. Doesn't guarantee that you're going to get a spot on the trip, but you can let Charles know that that you're interested, and hopefully we'll be seeing you soon.
Yeah, basically, just to follow up on that, it kind of goes on a first come, first served basis. So, you know, if you're itching to go and want to sign up, then the quicker you decide, the better. That's just kind of how it works. And
Awesome.
we do have a waiting list as well if space becomes available. So, yeah, there you go.
Hey, cheers, Kent, and cheers to everybody who joined us. Thank you so much for spending some time, and thank you, Maria.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
And,
Great
and
seeing you.
it's been awesome. So, Charles, can't wait to drink more whiskey with you, brother.
This is a Chichibu, by the way. I didn't mention.
Oh yeah, by the way, that's a Chichibu. course it is.
Sorry.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's awesome.
Didn't get
That's
to talk
great.
about it. So cheers, guys.
Sorry. Cheers, guys. Kampai, and we'll see you guys soon. All right. Slanja.
Slanja.